Hey guys, welcome back to Bible Fun with the Nuns. Today we're studying Proverbs chapter 22. Let's get started.
Okay, so all through the Proverbs, we're getting to some of the most important issues of life. Now, I want to draw a line between two kinds of things. So there are a couple of different ways that the Proverbs are going to hit in this kind of section. So some of these things are going to be behavior things. Some of them are going to be, here's what you do, here's what you don't do. If you do this, you are wise. If you err from that, you are unwise. And so some of them are like that. Other things, though, are core issues. So the core issues are the things that exist down deep in your heart, and you do what you do. You either go that way, or you choose this path, or you choose that path. Because it's at the core of who you are. That's where you're going. So those behaviors come out of the overflow of what's already in your heart. Now I want to walk through some of this because it's going to deal with both of these. It's going to either deal with decisions or the core issues that make your decisions. So listen to this. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches. Or we'll be quiet. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, loving favor rather than silver or gold. So David Jeremiah said of this, he had a good spin on it. He said that self-worth is more important than net worth. And I like that because what he's saying is some people spend their entire lives chasing after money and things, but they lose the things that matter most. And then there are other people who have all sorts of wonderful things in their life, but financially they don't have a lot. Solomon says it is possible to be extremely rich and still be empty. Well, how does Solomon know this? Because the richer he got in his life, the more spiritually bankrupt he became. He struggled through that. Verse number 2 says, the rich and the poor have this in common. The Lord is the maker of them all. And so sometimes you maybe come from a good neighborhood or a bad neighborhood. Sometimes you're in a high tax bracket or a low one. Sometimes you got this difference or that difference. But basically what's happening here is no matter your social or your economic status, everybody has a similar status. Well, what's the similar status? Well, the Bible tells us not only are we all made by God, God is our creator, right? In our spiritual condition, there is none righteous, no, not one. Not the rich, not the poor. Okay, and that there is none who does good, none, not even one. And so even though there are differences that people see, oh, he drives a nicer car than he does, and that people would see those differences, the Lord says, I'm going to look at the stuff that's eternal, and when I look at that, then the ground is level. Everybody starts out at the same spot. I like this one. It says, a prudent man foresees evil and hides himself, but the simple push on and are punished. What does that mean? That means that some people are wise enough to know because they're watching. If I keep heading down this path, I'm going to get into trouble. Others, they're either not watching or they're not caring. They're going, I didn't see that was coming up, or I was just living my life doing what I want and I got what I got. Well, listen, that's a really bad place to be. So the truly humble ones in life recognize that there's only one God and we're not him. John Phillips said, the great counterfeit of the devil is that he offers money, fame, and success, but they are poor substitutes, and all of them can be gained dishonorably. I like this in the way that what Solomon's doing here is he's telling readers that to be perceptive and careful about where we go in our lives. He says that there are paths that we can take, but in this path, watch this, here's the path. Verse 5 says there are thorns and snares are in the way of the perverse, but he who guards his own soul will be far from them. So he's telling us, he's warning us there, stay out of the weeds and stay out of the traps. And so he's telling us here that we're going to be careful about the path we take. Now, we can take a couple of different paths in our lives. Sometimes God grows up the thorns in our lives to warn us. Hey, if you go that way, it's going to hurt. And other times, the world lays traps in that spot and says, if we get them to come this way, we got them. What Solomon says is you got to be careful about where your life is headed. John, what was your takeaway?
So my takeaway comes from verse 8, and I'm going to read that right now. And it says, the one who sows in sin reaps weeds, And bully is spurred out with anger.
I think Orville's a bully, by the way.
Yeah, probably.
He bullies you.
Just a little.
All right, so tell us what that means.
Okay, so I'm gonna mainly focus on that first part, which says again, the one who sows in sin reaps weeds. So basically, what that's saying is, it matters where you decide to set your life down. Like, it matters the people that you hang around. It matters the places that you go. It matters the places that you go because the people who influence people around you, they're gonna, like, no matter what, influence you in some sort of way, even if it's a tiny or a giant way. They're gonna change you somehow. And it matters the people that we're around constantly.
I agree. In the Bible, and you'll learn this later. So in the Bible, there's a lot of places where that verse, that it's very clear right there, but there's a lot of places in the Bible where that verse comes back around. And we even have a name for it. That verse is called the law of the harvest. Here's the basic idea behind the law of the harvest. If I plant an apple seed, I get what?
Apple tree.
An apple tree. If I plant what's another seed? If I plant a seed for an oak tree, what do I get? Well, a seed for an oak tree is like an acorn. What do I get?
An oak tree.
All right. So what it's saying is what you plant is what you get. And so in your life, everything we watch, the law of the harvest comes in. Because what we watch, what we see, what we listen to, what we pay attention to, and what we love, they're always planting seeds. So this is why there are movies that we watch and movies that we go, no, we're not going to watch that. This is why there's music that we go, hey, we can enjoy this, and then others we go, not sure if that's got the best message. There's some books that we don't read and some ones we do. Why? Because the law of the harvest says that whatever you plant, what happens?
It grows.
That's going to grow. So remember this. Remember the law of the harvest in two ways. The law of the harvest is whatsoever a man sows, that will he also reap. But here's the other side. Easier way to say it. Small seeds produce big trees. Whatever's being planted is what's going to grow up. So Solomon says you got to be careful what you're planting in your life. Be careful, little eyes, what you see. Be careful, little ears, what you hear. Why? Because it's all planting and it's all growing. Okay? So that's Proverbs 22. We'll see you tomorrow in Proverbs 23.
Bye.
Good job, Bernard.
I feel like